Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome all the way from your show in San Francisco, Ash Eldritch.
Hi everybody. I'm really excited to be here. There's some really, really cool technology. I'm looking forward to showing you a little bit of what we're doing. My name is Ash Eldritch. Let's get the slides up. I'm based out of San Francisco, and we are building basically apps for Google Glass. So I want to show you a little bit about that, and a little bit of speculation about how Google Glass might disrupt the event space. So this is actually a really good time to introduce Google Glass to you, because it actually just got released for the UK last week. It's the easiest way to think of it really is as a kind of a computer for your face, is what it is. It's got all the features that you might expect in a smartphone. It's got a speaker, touchpad, microphone, camera, and screen. And of those, maybe the most exciting feature is the screen, because as you can see, it sits above the eye. It actually doesn't impede your normal point of view, but it does provide something for occasional reference. You wouldn't want to use it to watch a movie, for example. But what it does, the reason why it's potentially very disruptive is it brings information to places and situations where it normally wouldn't be available. So I just want to explore a few of those with you. And here's an interesting one where this is a field engineer. And this guy is performing a fairly complex procedure here. It's a block and bleed on a valve. And he is referencing a video checklist. What you see up there in the top right is basically what he's seeing on Google Glass. So he's able to perform the procedure with his hands fully engaged, whilst he's being kind of mentored through that process. Very handy. And then it's also disrupting healthcare. This is a surgeon I'm actually working with over in Stanford Hospital, over in Palo Alto. And he's using it to stream patient vital signs up to Google Glass. So while he's engaged in the surgery, he's able to simultaneously be aware of the patient's state of well-being. And this is actually really good for patient safety. We maybe even save some lives with this. Another thing we're doing with healthcare actually is to use the front-facing camera on the Google Glass, which allows us to stream the surgeon's point of view in real time. And we can send that to even a different country, to a consulting surgeon who's a specialist in the particular type of procedure, and he can offer advice in real time as well, kind of over the shoulder. So that's pretty amazing. People are very excited about what Google Glass can do in healthcare as well. What I want to talk about, though, is whether Glass can disrupt the event space. So first of all, I just want to show you a little bit about what I've been doing with it. And it's kind of my labor of love. And then we'll talk a little bit about some other opportunities as well. So just for a bit of background, public speaking is hard. If you've ever been up here, this isn't a pleasant feeling. My heart's going at like 100 beats a minute, and I've got my sweaty palms, and it's tough. It's actually, for 75% of people, it's their biggest fear. So if we can do something to alleviate some of that fear, all the better. At the same time, even if you're super confident up here, you can easily get lost in your notes. You can go off track. Maybe you missed your key points, that kind of thing. It's very easy to do. So again, is there something that we can do to facilitate that? So basically what we created is something I've called YourShow, and it is an app for Google Glass, and we're calling it the Speaker's Aid for Google Glass. It's really, I created this to stop me from running away in terror from talks like this. And what it does, basically, very simply, is it connects your presentation to Google Glass. So what I'm actually seeing right now, and I'll show you that, is not exactly this, but this is a mock-up of what I'm seeing right now. My slides are up here, up on the Google Glass. My notes are up here as well. And so that means that I can kind of read off some of the keywords and make sure that, because that stuff's always in front of me, I can stay on cue, I can make sure that I get the right message out, stay engaged with you guys. This is not quite what I see. I'm not quite this short-sighted. The other nice thing I can do here is that I can actually swipe as well to flick through the slides. I haven't been doing that because I'm terrified. It's still an alpha. So really the idea is to give you some superpowers while you're talking, stay engaged with your audience, and put you back in control so you can deliver a confident presentation, a compelling presentation, You can really put you back into control. Moving towards that, what I'm working on at the moment is using voice recognition. So as I mentioned before, there's a mic on the Google Glass, and we can use voice recognition to do all sorts of cool stuff. For example, real-time translation. For your international audiences, we can actually subtitle what you're saying up on the big slides there. Something I'm working on right now. And then pacing prompts. So it's often the case if you get kind of nervous that you start racing along and you're kind of skipping through everything and the audience can't keep up. So we can actually pick that up and tell you to take a deep breath and slow down, show you a picture of a nice bunny, maybe something like that, just to calm you down. So that's pretty cool. And then there's keyword tracking. So with keyword tracking, what we can do is we listen for particular points that you want to hit throughout the presentation or for a given slide, and just make sure you hit them and prompt them if you don't. That keyword tracking then also allows us to automatically flick to your next slide when you're done. So that's pretty cool. So in theory, hands completely free to wave around as you wish. And that's stuff that I'm working on right now. So just for the last bit of the talk then, I've been brainstorming a little bit with Blitz and looking at some of the possibilities for how glass might otherwise be beneficial in the event space. And just like to show you very briefly, a couple of those examples that we came up with. So for event organizers, there's a couple of good opportunities. Glass is actually a really great communication device. It has the microphone. It also has a speaker. It's actually a bone conductor that sits just behind the ear. What you can do with that basically is turn it into a kind of modern-day era radio, where it's hands-free. You can talk with the rest of the team. You can talk to an individual team member or to the entire team at the same time, rather than two-way radio where everyone has to engage with every single conversation. And then for remote assistance, so again, like the telemedicine example that I kind of pointed at earlier, there's a potential, an engineer is having some difficulty and, you're on the other side of the building, you need to help them out. We can actually stream from the front-facing camera what they're seeing, what the engineer is seeing to you, and you can help out in real time even while you're not there. So, some pretty cool stuff there for event organizers, and, these are just a couple of ideas. There are many, many things that we could be doing with this. Okay, so for the attendees, what we can do, because Google Glass actually has not only GPS for outdoor tracking, but next generation Bluetooth for indoor tracking, we can actually provide a number of really cool kind of features to attendees. One of those is, of course, like head-up maps. So if an attendee needs to get to a particular area, we can offer them kind of turn-by-turn directions within the event space. And we can even, at the right time, tell them that they need to leave to get to a particular space for a particular session, and give them kind of turn-by-turn directions to get there as well. So that's pretty cool. But obviously, doing that, we're actually collecting quite a lot of data about where the attendees are going, their movement behaviors, where they're spending time. So that's pretty powerful stuff. We can aggregate that data, and we can start to analyze it, pull out some pretty interesting kind of behavioral patterns, that kind of thing, to give you some insights onto how successful your events has been, and how you might set up to make it even more effective. And then a couple of other things you can do with this. So it's also pretty exciting for imagining you go up towards a booth. We know that you're approaching a particular booth, let's say at a conference, and we can start to deliver contextual information to you based on what you're interacting with. So you go up to a booth, we could have the website pop up for that company, or we could have maybe some reviews of the product, something like that. It's kind of tangential information that you can augment people's experience. And then, okay, my very last example is for networking, which is something that we all have to do, but maybe we don't all enjoy very much. It's an opportunity here where, again, we can use proximity to a person, so we know that you're interacting with that person. We can even use facial recognition if you have the attendees' permission. And you say you want to talk to this gorgeous guy here. You approach him, and up pops his LinkedIn profile. It turns out that you both like technology, cake, and beer. So you can make an instant connection with that person, which is pretty cool. And also opportunities there for instantly exchanging contact details, something like that, without all the fumbling around with big stacks of business cards. You can't remember who was who. And so this is pretty cool. I'm looking forward to this, actually. All right, so that's the last example I had. There is no doubt that there are hundreds more, and I'd be keen to explore them with any of you. I'll be in the demo area after this if you want to chat about it. And Blitz is very excited as well about doing this as well. So let's keep exploring. And if you are interested and you want to take the plunge and buy Google Glass, I would love for you to try out my YourShow app. It's up at yourshow.superhumanlabs.com. And if you also want to try it just after the talks are done here, I'll be in the demo area. And as long as Google Glass isn't overheating, I should be able to give you a bit of a demo. So there you go. Thank you very much to Blitz, and thank you all very much.